What's up guys, Readiness Rations here with you again, and I have a full case of the newest American 24-hour ration. This is the U.S. Survivor Daily Ration, or SDR for short. These kits are very similar to an MRE, but instead of providing a single meal, they're supposed to feed an individual for a full day. These rations are FEMA approved, and they are meant to be issued to the civilian population in the event of natural disasters or emergencies. I'm super excited to crack into this case and see what the SDR is all about, but before we do, don't forget to hit that thumbs up if you like seeing this emergency and survival ration content here on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of my future videos, and let me know down in the comments what ration you would like to see me review next. Now let's get this case open. So in my opinion, the name of these rations is pretty ominous. Survivor Daily Ration? Survivor of what exactly? This case was packed August 9th, 2023, and the inspection date is August 2026, making it just shy of 1 year old. That's a 3-year shelf life, rated at 80 degrees Fahrenheit. The freshness indicator on this one looks perfect. We have both English and what appears to be Spanish, and there's a little American flag in the corner there. There are 10 meals in the case. The case is 24 pounds, and it was packed by AmeriQual, who is really the premier company when it comes to U.S. military rations. Well, let's get this case open. Glued shut. And there are our rations. Survivor Daily Ration, Menu 1. This bag contains 1 day's complete food required for one person. Now, even though there are 10 meal kits per case, every single meal in this case is menu number 1. So there is very little diversity with these SDRs. I believe the idea behind this ration was to streamline FEMA's logistics when it comes to their emergency survival ration program. In the past, FEMA issued a lot of these reduced sodium meal individuals. These are only a single meal though. Of course, the Survivor Daily Ration is a full 24-hour meal kit. The Humanitarian Daily Ration is a 24-hour ration that can also be used for the same purpose, but these are more for overseas use as opposed to at-home use. So traditionally, FEMA would issue 2 of these meal individuals per person per day, and now they can get away with 1 SDR per person per day. Not only is that easier to keep track of, but the fact that these come in the same size case means that you're essentially doubling your storage capacity, which is a huge concern for someone like FEMA who is literally storing millions of rations. The Survivor Daily Ration comes in at 1,043 grams, and these contain about 2,200 calories, which is plenty to feed a person in 1 day. The Sopakco low sodium meals are basically half that at 544 grams. Typically, these only contain about 1,000 calories. The Humanitarian Daily Ration, which also contains about 2,200 calories, is actually slightly lighter than the SDR, coming in under a kilo. I think it's time we finally see what this ration contains. The label here is also the nutrition facts. We have 2 main entrees, one coming in at 500 calories, the other one at 450. They each have 17 grams of protein, one with 85 grams of carbs, the other one 84. And those are 8.5 ounce Retor pouches. A regular US military MRE is an 8 ounce Retor pouch, and the pouches from the HDR are 9 ounces, so it's sort of between those two. So this is our first Retor pouch, beans with potatoes. We have a small accessory package, including a napkin, spoon, salt, pepper, and a sodium-free seasoning mix, 170 calorie pack of MRE crackers, a massive 2 ounce package of Joy Squared sunflower butter. This is a new one, high protein cereal bar, 270 calories, 2.3 ounces, a Joy Squared sweet potato grape smoothie, 6 ounce package at 360 calories. In recent years, these have been in both HDRs and those single meal FEMA rations that we were talking about. This is a regular MRE item, apple pieces and spiced sauce. They also include a little nutrition leaflet for that, 130 calories, 5 ounces. And the last item in the ration is our other main entree, bean salad. Both of these entrees are items that you will find in a Humanitarian Daily Ration. Like an HDR, this SDR seems to be vegetarian, and although I enjoy my meat, it does make sense that you would remove that so more of the population can easily consume the ration without running into dietary restrictions. So this thing is pretty trim, high speed, low drag. For the most part, it is all food, no drink items, 2 main meals with a couple side items and snacks. This is a 24-hour ration though, and so as always, I will consume it as intended. This will be all the food that I eat today. Just 2 meals though, breakfast and dinner. And currently I'm famished, so let's move it over to our morning meal. So our breakfast is looking a little light here. They do not include a way to heat the ration components, so I boiled this Retor pouch so we'll have a nice warm breakfast. I decided on the beans with potatoes for our first meal. Maybe not the most natural breakfast selection, but it is what it is. Let's tear into this. Oh yeah, I've had this menu item before in a Humanitarian Daily Ration. I'm wondering if it's the same formulation. Probably is. This doesn't smell bad. A little bit of a sweet aroma coming off of it. The sauce is very sticky. They add maltodextrin to this, and I think that has a lot to do with the very sticky, sort of stringy sauce that everything is suspended in. It looks like the beans are kidney beans, and then we have our chunks of potato, and there's not really much else visible. That might just be a piece of onion right there. Yes, I think it is. Suppose we'll go in for a bite here, get some big chunks of beans, couple pieces of potato. Food doesn't get much more simple than that. Down the hatch we go. Bland. Good news is the beans are actually cooked. I've run into bean dishes before in meals like this where the beans are really hard. These are soft enough. I'm gonna get another bite here. The sauce is a little bit sweet. It has the faintest wisp of a spice, sort of like cayenne, in the back of my mouth, but barely noticeable. The sauce is a tomato base, but it's not bringing very much acidity to the party. Yeah, just sweet more than anything. I think this could use some salt. Luckily, they do include a very small salt packet. I'm gonna put all that on there, and I suppose we'll do the pepper pack as well, why not? Not very much of that at all. They could have easily added like 3 times this amount of black pepper, and it wouldn't really increase the cost at all. Now that we got a little salt and pepper here, we'll see if that's any better. I mean, it's food, and literally that's about it. I don't think a person would derive any pleasure from consuming this unless they were absolutely starving. I suppose that's what a survival meal like this is designed for, but it wouldn't have killed them to use some spices. I will say the portion size here is generous. The combinations of bean with potato is going to give you a good mix of amino acids, plenty of carbohydrates for energy, and you'll even get a little dietary fiber. The salt definitely helps to cut a little bit of that sweetness, and although I don't exactly like this, it's plenty palatable enough to eat, and I intend to consume every single bite. I think this sweet potato grape smoothie sounds like a pretty breakfast-like item, so we'll tackle this one as well. Now it does come in this nice little pouch where you could just rip the edges and sort of slurp this out of the pouch if you wanted to. Just so we can see it a little better, I will put it on the tray here. That is super thick and looks fairly creamy. It's the consistency of baby food, basically. And I think this particular item is sort of supposed to fill that role. If these meals were being issued to people in need, it would make sense that those people might have young children. And if they did, a baby food-like inclusion would be welcome. This mix is very smooth, nothing individual to speak of, so we'll just go in for a big spoonful here. Sweet potato grape smoothie might not sound the best, but we'll see how it tastes here. A little bit tangy, a little bit sweet. Despite the name being sweet potato and grape, the predominant flavor in this is banana. The feel in the mouth is a little bit on the mealy side, but not bad. But the flavor is 100% banana baby food. That's what it tastes like. To me, this tastes way better than that main entree. The combination of fruity, sweet, and sour is really quite nice and pretty darn enjoyable. Now this high protein cereal bar is an item I have not run across in the past. That contains 15 grams of protein. Whether or not that would be considered high protein, I suppose, is up for debate. This does seem like it would be a breakfast-like item though. Well, look at that. That looks exactly like a First Strike bar. 270 calories, 15 grams of protein. Not only does it look like a First Strike bar, those macros sound a lot like a First Strike bar as well. It's breaking apart easily enough. This does appear to be chocolate, and we have tiny bits of puffed rice all in the mix. Smells chocolatey, but sort of a fake chocolate, a lot like a Tootsie Roll. Let's go in for a bite here. That is a First Strike bar, plain and simple. Maybe since this ration is meant for the civilian market, they decided to rename it to something a little bit more neutral, but this is virtually identical to the First Strike bars from U.S. military meals ready to eat. I've eaten about half of everything we were having for breakfast, and I'm already feeling pretty satiated, so after finishing this off, I don't think I'll be hungry again for quite a while, but once I am, we'll check out dinner. And here is our evening meal. Those beans with potatoes have been sitting in my stomach like a ton of bricks. For our dinner, we will do the bean salad. This is another HDR menu item. It is bean central here, and this has that same gloopy maltodextrin thickened sauce. The smell is certainly different though. Not as sweet smelling. So this bean salad has kidney beans, but then we have some smaller beans here. Those are probably navy beans, those little guys. And then we have some in-betweeners here, and those appear to be pinto beans. There's a couple chunks of carrot distributed throughout. And then I see a little bit of red here that's either going to be tomato peel or possibly red bell pepper. And once again, that's all suspended in a very thick, gloopy sauce. We'll get a big spoonful here, making sure to get examples of all the individual bean types. And that's a Survivor Daily Ration bean salad. Let's give it a taste. So, again, it's super sweet. The sweetness along the lines of baked beans, but none of the flavors or seasonings that make baked beans good. Flavor profile in this is literally beans and sugar. The beans, though, are at least soft, the little navy beans especially. It really is just a sugary, sweet, beany mess, though. We used up our salt and pepper, but we still have a King Packing brand, gluten-free, sodium-free seasoning. And man, does this entree need some help. It doesn't taste of any discernible spices as is. This seasoning blend is a mix of dehydrated fruits and vegetables with some seasonings like paprika. Throw that over our bean salad here. Also, maybe they need to rethink the title of these menus. Maybe give them a cool name instead of beans with potatoes and bean salad. Might just be me, but those sound super boring. And I guess the flavor kind of matches the name though, so I will give them that. All right, let's get a bit of our salt-free seasoning on this bite. I'd say there's a fair amount on there. See if that makes things any better. It has the addition of a little bit of garlic, but I don't really taste anything else. I kind of wish instead of salt-free seasoning it had salt, because this main needs it just like the one for breakfast did. That tiny little pack just wasn't big enough to give this entree the coverage it needs to actually be able to detect the flavor. The more that I'm eating this, the more that the sauce is in is giving me sort of cheap ketchup-y vibe, sort of a corn syrup sweetened tomato bleh. Again, if you're starving, this probably doesn't seem all that bad, but if you're just having this one as a casual meal, it's far from impressive. Let's take a look at our crackers. Nice vacuum on those. By all indications, these are just standard US military MRE crackers. Pretty pale looking, not exactly toasted, but smell like a bready MRE cracker. Nice snap. Let's give it a taste. Very fresh and crisp. These are, after all, only a year old, and MRE crackers easily last for decades. Maybe the cracker will help to absorb a little bit of that sickly sweetness that these beans have. So we'll go in for a bit of beans on cracker or beans on toast. The crunch actually adds a nice texture difference. It does make it a bit more savory. Having the crackers with the beans is not a bad way to do it. That really dries the mouth out though. I love how large this pack of sun butter is. For one thing, if you've never had the pleasure of trying sunflower butter, I recommend giving it a shot because it is pretty delicious stuff. Also, it has the bonus of causing less allergy issues. Most people that are allergic to peanuts can eat sunflower butter no problem. Tear into this one. Oh yeah, that is thick and luscious looking, shiny with oil. We gotta try that out. That's the best thing in the ration so far. Super nutty and toasty. It has a good amount of sodium with just a little bit of sweetness. The depth of flavor on this though is outrageous. That nutty, toasted, roasted sunflower flavor is excellent. And it is smooth, creamy bliss. I'll try it out on the cracker here. That zaps all the moisture from your mouth. That's a good combination, but in my opinion, these crackers actually detract from the outstanding flavor the sunflower butter has. Essentially, I'd recommend just eating this straight out of the pouch. And our last item to check out is our apple pieces and spiced sauce. As I said earlier, this is an item you will find in regular old US military MREs. It's basically like an apple pie filling. These apple pieces are pretty soft, but have just a little bit of bite and crunch left to them. And we can see our very thick sauce they're suspended in and the little flakes of spices that's sort of distributed through the mix there. The main entrees in this menu were so sweet that I don't really think you needed a dessert, but I guess this is our dessert-like item. It's not overly sweet. I would almost say it's less sweet than something like our bean salad here. The apples are not cooked to death. They still have a little bit of crunch. The spice flavor of the spice sauce is very mild, but pleasant. This item always reminds me a little bit of a McDonald's apple pie filling. Since we have a couple items to work with here, I think I'll take some of our apples and a nice squeeze of our sunflower butter and sort of pile all of that on a cracker here and try it all together. Now that I like. The apples add some moisture so you don't feel like you're choking. The crunch of the cracker is a nice complement for the creamy sunflower butter. And the flavor of apple with sunflower butter is actually a decent little combination. Now that is very much like a dessert. Sweet and nutty, appley, spiced, a little bit salty, creamy and crisp. That has a lot going for it. And that was America's new Survivor Daily Ration menu number 1. For a survival meal, this gets the job done. It contains a generous amount of food, and although the food is not delicious, it's tasty enough to get down and keep somebody alive. And I think the biggest issue with the SDR is actually the poor menu diversity. Every single ration in this case was menu number 1. They are all identical. Same main entrees and same side items. And if somebody was in a situation where they're living off these rations for any length of time, it is going to become very monotonous very quickly, and that could be a big problem. These SDRs are meant to replace the single meal ration kits that FEMA has been using from people like Sopakco and AmeriQual. And if you compare these single meal rations directly to the SDR, I definitely think the single meal rations have the advantage because of their menu diversity. In the case of each of these, there's about 6 different menus a piece, giving someone a lot more individual meal options. I really think the idea behind the SDR, though, is to save cost everywhere they can and to simplify FEMA's ration offerings. The SDR is essentially an HDR by a different name and in a different bag. I want to know what you guys thought about this ration down in the comments. Was this a change the US needed to make to save some money, or were things better the way they were? If you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up to help it out with the algorithm. If you know someone else that might like this video, please be sure to share it, because that is the best way to help the channel grow. Subscribe so you don't miss any of my future emergency survival and military ration reviews, and I will catch you guys in the next video. See you then. Peace.